the first thing I notice is if I'm real strict with holding a scap down and I elevate, that's all we have. So, and we saw that overhead with his motion, and he probably compensated more than we thought, but that's all he has on this side is right here. So you guys kind of camera angle and you guys can see, you know, where that is. I would kind of say in this position, he's, I don't know, 3 inches above his nose, right? That's pretty hardcore documentation. Tell Medicare that. His elbow's 3 inches above his nose. But it's kind of, that's where I would put him right there on that side. So stay there. Let's just see lefty for the heck of it. And big difference, right? So you can even see he gets to his forehead easy. So he has 3 inches less elevation on that side that we're gonna look for. So for Terry's, what I wanna do is I wanna kind of really show you, put your arm, come all the way towards me and put your arm off the edge and just kind of have that arm hang a little bit. So for Terry's major, this is obviously your lat, and this is good. You know, you can see his lat really well. We worked on the lat. You can see my hand strokes now, which is kind of why I wanted to start with that. As Eric said, you can see it come down the lat. Okay, that's an important concept. It's not just digging in on the lat. For Terry's though, it's this guy kind of in the armpit that gets really, really dense and thick, especially in overhead athletes. But we see this in people with impingement all the time. How's that spot feel? Is that tender?
It's been really knotted up.
So even he feels it's knotted up. Well, remember what he's missing with motion. He's missing a crossbody, he's missing elevation. So I'm gonna blame a lot of that on Terry's major on here. He's getting a poor separation of his scap and his humerus. Okay, so when he elevated his arm up, his scap moved so well because it had to. Because his issue was separation between his humerus and his scap, if that makes sense. So scap went well, it was this position right here that wasn't going as well. So we're gonna really get in on Terry's major and try to kind of release that and kind of relax that a little bit so we can get a little bit more motion and then see what happens with him, okay? So let's start with this. I'm just gonna come straight out down from the side. So again, you know, I do a very comprehensive approach. I'd do some instruments, I'd do some deep tissue to kind of lengthen it out a little bit, but then I'd get to his motion with some of the soft tissue. And that's what I wanna do now. So I want you to come all the way up, thumb all the way overhead like you're kind of going into elevation, but come right on there. I'm gonna try to not get in your way, but let me get right on Terry's. Good, I'm gonna pin that down and he's gonna come up and kind of provide like an active stretch. And you can see I'm having my hands move with it because I don't want to limit that scapular upward rotation. Good, and then come back down. So he can force this into a pinch. I don't want that. I just want to go like right up to that pitch. So do that a few times for me. Good, so that's 2. And then let's just do 3 for the sake of this, but you do as many as you need. Good, perfect. Go back on your side, face these guys, and scoot back towards me. So if we want to get a little more aggressive or you just have that really annoying client that you dislike, you can get in there with your elbow a little bit more and then do the same kind of motion up overhead. And you can get in there fairly good and then kind of come up overhead. So this is another way to kind of get at Terry's major. Self-myofascial, this is where a lacrosse ball in this area really helps. But digging in there in and of itself isn't enough. You have to combine it with the motion. So we'll show that in a little bit. Okay, give me one more. So again, I'm rotating with it. You see how my body's moving? I'm letting that scap go up, but I want to get a little bit of a dynamic kind of stretch on there. Now flip on your back. You can stay this side. So I'm going to just scoot towards me a little bit. So I'm just going to see what we have just for motion right there. So a ton better, right? And that's not fluffing it. He was up here. Remember we said we were 3 inches right there. That's very close to his left side. Okay? So again, they're both a little limited because we haven't addressed thoracic yet. So remember we said that, we just kind of got him to this position, but I'm pretty happy we've done minimal work and it just shows how much he kind of worked on that area. Now I'm gonna go kind of thumb in Terry's major and I'm gonna work cross body a little bit and we'll see what we kind of get here. So again, I'm just kind of pinning it down, stretching it, kind of coming across just for sake of demonstration here, just to see what we get. And then probably stretch it a little bit. Let's do a muscle energy technique. So real gentle, 10% effort, push into my hand, push, 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 and relax, and just nice and relaxed, good. 10% effort, push into my hand again, good. Now you pull across, reach that way for me, and then relax. So I'm just getting relaxed. I'm just getting a little muscle energy of that area, and now you can see his motion across his body's back. That was quick. So that's what happens when you don't have a length contracture, you just have like a density contracture of your tissue where they're just hypertonic and dense. It's not technically shortened. So now we go back overhead and he has even more motion.